Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good. Like press the button once, press the button twice. Oh, my word.
This meeting is being recorded. Okay.
Hello, Micheline.
Hey,
Look at your
Janet.
hair. Wow. Oh no, you've got a coat on.
I'm imitating a Sith Lord.
Yeah, I was gonna say you are a character.
Hey, Janice, it's Jenny here.
Hey, Jenny.
Waiting for a neurologist phone call with my husband. So if he yells at me and I take off, I'll come back. So in
Yeah.
case I disappear,
So
just,
I'm totally not going to be watching you guys at all. I'm going to
okay,
be kind
perfect.
of like trying to remember what I'm trying to teach you and making sure that I got all my supplies as well. So-
Exactly. Don't ask me any questions because if I don't answer, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just probably gone. But
No,
thank
that's
you.
all good. Just a few more people coming in, and we'll get started shortly. Everybody's got a coffee because I'm going to lecture for a while. I'm going to let you guys just sort of sit back um, and just listen to me yak on for a little bit because I'm going to take you through a um, a journey through how I came to watercolor and how I came to work with pocket watercolor journaling as a practice. And I think that's what is really important here that we need to remember or know about this particular workshop is that it's about portable and um, travel light, travel fast, kind of sketching in color, creating small vignettes in order to, remember the journey that we're on. And it is that kind of practice that I want to sort of share with you because I have found it very invaluable or very valuable. How would you say very? Very valuable over the years. Especially in kind of storytelling about your journey or a day or what is in your journal. So for myself, like my own learning journey with watercolor started back in the Middle Ages. Of I think like I'm gonna say 1980, early 1980s. And I took a course in watercolor at the Buckhorn Art School at the Buckhorn Gallery on the Lake in Buckhorn. Wow, imagine that. And with a fellow by the name of Ed Matthews and also with Jack Reed. So I took a couple of courses up there. They were 3 days, like 3 full days, each of those courses. And, barely touched the surface as far as technique and playing with watercolor and sort of understanding how it works. But I really enjoyed it. And the reason I started with watercolor was because when I was in my 12s, before in the dark ages back in the 60s, my parents had given me an oil set for Christmas and set me up in the furnace room down in the basement, big room, to work. And I opened up all the paints. I started painting and I couldn't breathe and my face swelled up, my throat swelled up. I had to go to the hospital, had an anaphylactic shock, and I could not paint with the oil paints. So my whole life until 2008, I suppose, I thought I was very allergic to to oil paints and that I couldn't use them. Um, Turns out I'm not. Um, I sort of took a little trip to the art store, went on one of my artist dates, and I discovered that they had some oil paints that are made from walnut oil. Well, I knew that I wasn't allergic to walnut oil. So I thought, let me see if I can work with that, and I could, and I was fine. And then I started working with different kinds of oils, and I have a feeling way back in the dark ages in the 60s, the oil paints that I had probably had some kind of additive in it that I was very allergic to. And the paints that I have now, which are higher quality artist paints, have no additives with them. So so that's why I started out with watercolor to begin with, was because I couldn't start with something else. I didn't have the opportunity. I wanted to start painting in oils, but I could not. So I did not even start with oils until 2008. But anyways, I had a great education in watercolor. First, of course, starting at that Buckhorn school with a couple of long weekend workshops. And then I practiced and I worked away at it. And I had the opportunity to get published my work. I was looking for, at the time, limited edition prints were a big deal. So Glenn Lotes, lucky for me, picked me up, and his wife had a publishing company. And so they picked me up and started to publish my work, which was exciting, really, really exciting. So that was the 90s, the beginning of the 2000s. I was still painting in watercolor. Through Glenn, I was lucky enough to meet Ken Danby, and Ken invited me out and taught me a little bit about how to work in egg tempera. So that was sort of my next progression of learning how to go from watercolor to working with egg tempera, which is closer to oils, but not all the way there. And it's one of the reasons why I was a big fan of Andrew Wyeth's work. Beautiful egg tempera pieces, beautiful watercolor work. And they work fairly much in a dry brush method. I will try to post some of my earlier works that were like lots of Victorian homes and happy houses and kids and Victorian type paintings. So I will paint those post those for you. Just a small selection. Yeah, I'll paint them for you. Been there, done that. So I worked professionally in watercolors from around 1989 to 2002. And at that point in time, we moved from, I was in the middle of a divorce, and so I just upended everything, and we moved across the country, ended up here in Alberta. And I worked a little bit in watercolor at the time, but Grace was just a baby, and that was around 2004. And then I started to do watercolor journaling back in around 2011-ish or so, just off and on. So watercolor was, for me, was my early career venture professionally into the world of art. And it's a lovely segue because it's kind of like a non-threatening type of medium, which is why it's also so perfect for these quick, no comment, no judgment type practices with watercolor journaling. And especially, it's geared towards travel and being able to do things on the go. So that's sort of about me. So that's where my journey has been with watercolor. I have not done a lot of watercolor since then. I've just been actually using my watercolor journals as I need to. And I will explain about that. I'll tour you through the first couple of iterations of them. And you can sit back and get really bored with my work. But it is, I think, quite important to know how it can work for you, and how, the first one's like 2011. So 15 years later or whatever, they're still relevant, and they're still in my studio. And that is a really beautiful thing to kind of be able to know and be able to work for. work through. So I think I've asked everybody sort of what you wanted to get out of the workshop, and I've got 3 pages of questions, which are kind of questions that are like advanced watercolor questions in many cases. So I'm going to kind of move a lot of that out into something separate, and I'm going to address some of your questions in some separate videos, because I want you first to know and understand about how to do pocket watercolor journaling. And then from there, we can work through some of the things like techniques and the color theory. That simple watercolor theory piece is in there for you to self-study and learn from. I will answer your questions on those as they come forward in the actual classroom area. I think that'll be the best place to do that. I think somebody who was it Kathy, had the big questions about color theory, or was it Anne? Anne, it was Anne. Anne, you always have such great questions. But you're talking in some cases about like 3rd and 4th year university color questions or beyond atelier questions, which some of them I can answer and some of them I cannot, but I will try. Okay. But there's a simpler way to start. So instead of running right away, for those of you that know the story about the tricycle, you know, we all have to, who of us was all born riding a bike? Anybody? Anybody born knowing how to ride a bike? None of us. So we got to start somewhere, right? So that's where we're going to start. And this is what pocket watercolor journaling is. It will give you, it's really nice because it's not threatening as far as your drawing capacity. Like if you are a little bit rusty with your drawing, that's just fine. We're not looking at full blown drawings in our watercolor journals at all. We're looking for the essence of something that will then bring back a memory for you when you look back onto those things. Are there any questions up till now? And I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. No? Okay. Everybody got popcorn, snacks, coffee, beer, whatever. I know everyone's at a different time zone, so it's, you know, what do they say, 5 o'clock somewhere, or noon somewhere for some people. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just gonna go around the room and I'm just gonna have everybody introduce themselves and just say where they're from, like who you are, where you're from, okay? And I'll just start with, I'm gonna just call you out because I can go around the classroom. So let's start with Luna.
I'm in Amherst, Massachusetts.
Amherst, Massachusetts. Anne. Oh, have to unmute. Everybody can just unmute for now.
Unmute.
I'm in Calgary. I'm Anne. I'm in Calgary, Alberta.
Okay. Alice.
I'm in Canmore, Alberta.
Canmore. Dominique.
I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia.
There we go. So we're coast to coast, just on our first 5 people across the board. Louise.
Victoria, BC.
Yep. Brenda.
I'm from Mohannis in New Brunswick.
That's right. Tanya.
Sherwood Park, Alberta.
Sherwood Park. You're closer to me. You're I think the closest one, yes. Janine.
Good morning. I'm from Calgary, Alberta.
Calgary, Alberta. Jan.
Calgary, Alberta.
Calgary, Alberta. Lee.
Hi. Golden, BC.
Golden, BC. Heather.
Hi. Calgary.
Calgary. Calgary.
Yeah, I say it.
Jenny.
Canmore.
Canmore. Irene.
Calgary.
Calgary. Becky.
Calgary.
Golden. Oh.
Becky. Oh, do we have 2 Beckys?
Golden, BC.
Golden, yeah. Meg.
I'm in Calgary.
Calgary. Betty.
Calgary.
Also Calgary. Mish.
Canmore.
Amor. Kayla.
Toronto, Ontario.
Toronto. Yes. Mary Ev.
I'm in beautiful rainy Banff.
Beautiful rainy Banff. Oh, you're lucky you've got the rain. Lisa Lethbridge, where are you?
I'm in Lethbridge, downtown LA.
Excellent. Kathy Naramata, where are you?
Naramata?
Yeah, good answer. Kathy Bugle.
Canmore.
Canmore. Amanda.
Montreal.
Montreal. Shelley.
Calgary.
Calgary. And Michelle.
Lethbridge.
Oh, you're in Lethbridge. I was hoping you were going to say you're in Mexico still.
No, left Mexico in April.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, excellent. I'm glad. Well, we've got a nice group of people from lots of different areas, and there's some people that aren't joining us for the live session due to scheduling conflicts, and then they're just going to check out the recording afterwards. So I guess the next question I want to know is, who is a procrastinator? Put your hands up high in the air. Are you a procrastinator? Okay. Are you a perfectionist? Are you both? Put both hands in the air if you're both. Yeah, okay. So for the next 2 days, this is what I want you to do for those of you that are procrastinators or perfectionists. I want you to fire your procrastinator and fire your perfectionist, because we are going to move fast and move strong, okay? Throughout this journey that we're going to have here today and tomorrow. So let's talk a little bit about, oh, and here comes Gary. Let's talk a little bit about what exactly is pocket watercolor journaling. Anybody have an answer to that? I've explained it a little bit. I'm just wondering if anybody has an idea of what it is. No? Okay. You signed up for a workshop, you don't know what you signed up for.
Well,
Okay.
it's a quick way of capturing memories on the go.
Yeah.
And it uses the medium of watercolor, and I bet it tends to be pretty small work.
Yes.
I've done like a tiny bit of it, and I find myself sometimes doing bits during the day, and then when I have time, back in the accommodation at night, sort of doing a bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know if that, it's something you can carry around.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
use at any moment. That's what I'm imagining.
Yeah. And Gary has just joined us. Gary, we're just doing introductions. Oh, your internet's iffy. Okay. But you're in Toronto, right? So Gary's in Toronto, and a few other people are in Toronto. All right. I will try to keep my eye on the chat, but I am not good at doing that. So if you would do me the pleasure of like unmuting yourself and just saying, hey, it's Irene, I have a question. And then I'll stop wherever I'm at and answer that question, okay? If you do park something into the chat, I'll probably look at it a little bit later when you guys are working and I am taking a little break. All right. So anybody else on, what is watercolor, pocket watercolor journaling? Dominique?
Yeah, well, journaling means that it's something you do basically every day.
You could do it every day. I probably haven't done it for a year and a half. So, you could do it every day for sure if you were really good at it, or if you have a lot of time. I don't do it every day. I usually reserve it for special occasions when I'm traveling. But you could definitely do it every day, and I will show you a way of using it every day. It's an excellent way to kind of journal your day visually.
Assuming it's very minimal stuff. You don't have to bring your whole house along when you go.
You got it. Okay. So it's portable. It's simple. there is no right or wrong, okay? There is no right or wrong with this practice. This is your sketchbook. Name it, you know, this is my sketchbook, and fire your inner critic and your procrastinator and your perfectionist, because this is all about you. This is just for you, this particular practice. It's a great play space. So if you want to try new things, then it's a space where you need to have no fear of failure, because in this particular world that we're entering, let's pretend we're all entering our little world here. We're entering our world of pocket watercolor journaling. There, I'm snapping my fingers there. You're all in the world. So there's no fear or failure here, because that's the kind of world we're into here, with no such thing as that. It's a great place you can draw, you can paint, you can collage, you can scrap elements as well. And now I'm just gonna ask whoever's talking to mute yourselves, if you wouldn't mind. I don't know.
Sorry, Janice, that was me. My whole internet went down and I just connected and I had.
Okay, I'm muting you. There we go. All right, so I'm going to do something that I spent half of my day yesterday, other than plowing, trying to figure out my camera. So I'm going to share my video, sharing my camera on my desk space. And I don't think you guys will be able to see me, but that's okay. I'm nothing to see here anyhow. And I'll be talking about my journals. So let me show you my desktop, and I'll change my video camera. Whoops. I won't change it to nobody. All right, I'll change it to that one. Okay. So everybody can see that, can see my desktop. It's got a bunch of paints on it right now.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. I'm going to change my view, because I can just see that, and I can't see, I'm seeing all of you, but I don't want to see all of you. I want to see my journal a little more closely. And I have to change my view. There, now I can see it. So if you guys want to change your view to speaker view in the top right corner, you'll get a much larger view of my desktop area where I'm going to be demonstrating. So the first thing I'm going to do is take all of my paints off here. Boom, just like that. And I'm going to start to take you on a little journey through the first watercolor sketchbook that I did when I was lucky enough to be selected as the Guayhanas Artist in Residence for Guayhanas National Park. So that was June 2nd. And I date this. This is a really good thing to do, is to put like little sticky stickers on your journals. And so you know which ones they are. So you're not like leafing through them all and trying to figure out which one's which. But this is the one that I did in Guayhanas National Park. And I needed to have a way to move really quickly there, right? So you have to really be able to, we're on and off boats, and really like carrying a lot of gear, and you want to have things that you can, a way that you can capture things quickly. So I thought, well, I should be probably journaling in watercolor. So that's what I'm going to do. So I created this particular sketchbook is sort of like my first one. So that's 2012. One I would say is like the most finished. I don't know what I've done with any of the ones that happened before. So I ended up getting myself a very portable kit, and I'll show you that shortly. It's the one that everybody keeps remarking on, like it's in a bag that says first aid kit because it is. So I started off just, you know, the first day that we were on the boat, I started off just kind of sketching on the boat with my pencil and just trying to capture some forms. And you can see like there are some very simple line sketches down here, the Tar Islands. And, you know, I was just kind of, you know, in my groove, starting to get going. And You know, again, a few more just sketches going on here. Really quick. Now you see this is like an island and some trees and just getting the form and getting the feel of the far horizon. And I make like little notes here along the way. And you know, this is probably only about 30 seconds to a minute to try and get that all sketched out. And you know, you don't need to worry about what your page looks like or whatever. And then I've made, you know, not verbal, but written comments about, you know, the area or where I was. One of the other artists we picked up off the coast on an island, and this was a lagoon into where Daryl was, and he got onto the rocks and we picked him up off the rocks there. I remember that. That was brilliant memory. So then I thought it started to get, oh, okay, well, I need to be actually working with some color here. So I started to get a little less nervous about kind of using my my watercolor sketchbook. So I started by just doing these very simple line drawings and then a quick wash of color in here. So, and it's just funny because it's like, first ever watercolor painting, slightly rough waters heading out of camp. So just, you know, kind of, that's a bit of a milestone for me, knowing that that was the first one that I did. And I was just like, oh, look at me, I can do this. I'm like, I'm legit. I actually belong here. So it was kind of a really nice realization to be able to do that. Kathy, you have a question?
So do you use the micron pen so that the line doesn't bleed? Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so then a little, you know, just anything that's in front of me. And I think that's a really important thing to note when you're watercolor journaling, that you're also thinking about firing your procrastinator, is that there are, I had a photography teacher in college who taught me that there are 1,000 good, photographs anywhere that you sit or stand. So this is the buoy that's on the back side of the Adelita, which was our boat. And so, you know, anything can go into your sketchbook. I'm going to that was my son texting. I'm just going to I'm just going to tell him that I'm teaching, that I can talk to him later. Sorry about that. So just lots of notes about, you know, where we're going and what we're doing, and just, you know, trying to find the idea of the form and the feel of the landscape. And, you know, like like we moved fast, right? So we're on a boat, and here, you know, I didn't have time to actually pull out the color, but this is a watchman's cabin, and it was a birthday party for Tana's auntie. So I remember that when we were at Tanu. And it's just, you know, really light color, you know, the movement of the pen is kind of giving an idea of what the movement is in the water. And I think with this sketchbook, I have some parts that are only on this page and nothing on this page, and some parts I do have some parts on this page. No rhyme or reason to it. I think at the time I was like, I'm just only going to work on this page for whatever reason, if I ever want to tear these out and frame them or whatever. So this is also when we were at Tanu, we had the opportunity to walk into an area where it was quite a sacred area. A lot of families had passed away from smallpox. So there was no using your camera or anything there. So I only had the chance to use my sketchbook and from memory. So we walked in, we were very, it was a very sacred spot. So you just look and think, and then I came out and then I drew, you know, what I could remember from what was there. And yeah, Impressions from Sacred Sites on Tanu, and that's where Bill Reed is buried. So I love that, because even though I was there and I wasn't able to take a photograph, I have this memory sketch that I could do really quickly after coming out of that area and just get the essential information down. And I think that is one really, really important point when we're talking about how we draw or how we work in our watercolor journal, is that it is essential information only, right? That's what you want to do. And then again, just some other quick sketches, kind of getting through the island. And lots of, notes like about where we were, Cape St. James, where the largest wave was ever recorded. The eelgrass meadows, they were really interesting, and they were actually these colors. So I'm really happy that it ended up like that. And just, you can see like they're just very, very light, very indicative, essential line only, and just a little bit of color to kind of indicate the form. So that's where you kind of got to get past the oh, it needs to be like a perfect, absolutely perfect painting. No, it's not ever going to be a perfect painting. It's perfect the way it is. So just keep that in mind when you're working with your watercolor sketchbook, that these are sketches. They're really quick, quick, interesting sketches, and gives you a chance to just work a little bit with line and a little bit with a hint of color here or there, a few words as far as, what we did and where we went. And here you can see I have a directional line too that tells me sort of the order of the day, or the order of this particular boat ride that we took. So from one place all the way through to another. That kind of an element, a graphic element, is really quite excellent. And just like a little notation here, we saw sea lions, yay. And then here I had a little more time because we were sitting and refueling the boat. So had a chance to, do a little picture of the two guys that were refilling the boat. And then while we were sitting there, somebody told the story about the late 1800s, early 1900s, that there was a murder at the whaling station. And they had to wait and wait and wait and try to keep the body on ice for someone to come to Ellen Island for the coroner to come. So it was a really interesting kind of a story that kind of went along with, the picture of where it actually happened. And, in my mind, it brings back that whole day. It was sunny. It was a little bit windy and cool. The people I was with, I can remember all of that just from those few little lines and a little bit of color. And that's what you want to do. Again, I'm just going to say it over and over again. Fire your procrastinator, fire your perfectionist. Work through all of these little, singular sketch lines that look a little abstract, but they're not going to be abstract to you. Excuse me. So then we also had opportunities to sit and do like a little bit longer sketches. And this is on Shaman Island. Let's just get Emily in here. And I just had a little bit more time. And so it's a little bit bigger. There's a little more color to it. It's the full page deal. And the same with this one as well, the eagle pole on Shaman Island. And that night when we got back, there was just like, I was outside and it was just like so still. And there was this like perfect reflection of the full moon and the trees in one of the little inlets by our floating camp. So it's really neat. You can start to kind of, those of you that are poets and that are good poets, and I know that there are several of you in the room that are good writers, you can work through a few, poetic words also to go with your sketch. And then just again, some more sketches here. And Daryl, we were at Burnaby Narrows, which has one of the highest it has a super tide, right? So it's either really, really high or it's like it goes down really fast. And so you get this opportunity where there are more organisms in a cubic square yard than anywhere else on the planet at Burnaby Narrows. And so you have all these things, and everywhere you go, you're stepping on something, you're killing it. It's like, it's crazy. We were just like kind of paralyzed. It was so beautiful. Bat stars of every single color. And Daryl, who lived on the island, had this quote, and I will never, ever forget it. And I wrote it in my book, and now you're all seeing it. But it says, at low tide has a different smell. And Daryl says, yeah, it's the smell of God's vagina. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing to say because of all the life that was there. It was just incredible to kind of see everything that was there. And I have like, well, just like photographs out the yin yang. And then you can see like my sketchbook itself became much more colorful that day because of the bat stars and all of the life that was going on around us. And yeah, Grace was 8, so that was like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. Yeah, and I hope that place is still there for her and for us and for all of us to see, because it was just one of those moments in my life that just completely changed my life. It was just like seeing everything all at once. It was kind of freaky. Yeah, so then we went, and after that, I can even see it in the work, like my pages start to get a little more organized. I'm more confident in using the color, and like I love this little sketch right here. It's not much of anything when you look at it. Just a little pointer here, but the colors that happen in here, and the horizon line and the mountain, and this is like the first boat that we had seen during the whole trip. So we were kind of out there, and we were actually on a place called All Alone Stone. It was the only place that we actually met another boat in the entire southern part of Guayhanas National Park. So it was pretty funny. But there's all these little stories that go along with just these little sketches. And there's Daryl. We just stopped in Juan Perez Sound, and he caught some fish off the side of the boat, and we had them for lunch. And just more and more notes and different notes about the yellow cedar growing right up to the edge of the ocean. This is on a different part of the island. It's more of the western island, and it's where they call it where the alpine meets the ocean, and in its incredible amount of botanical diversity there. And seal pups, and just like the different shapes and the colors. It was just an incredible trip. Tana caught a sea urchin and told us a story about Wasco the sea wolf. And that's a pretty interesting story, which I'll save for another time. I don't know why people keep calling me here. Things turned off. Okay. Sorry. So as you can see, there's just like lots of different stuff that goes on. And here I think I was so overwhelmed. I left some pages. I was going to go back that night and sketch what was in my mind. And I never did that. And now I can't remember what they were, what it was that I wanted to sketch. So that's to me an indicator, and also a little bit of sadness, because I feel like I've lost a part of that journey in this part right in here. So it's kind of nice just to have that 3 pages in there to remind you that you need to be, aware all the time, kind of what's going on around you. And then here I'm on the ferry back to Skidegate from Prince Rupert, and just kind of heading back and making some notations around how the clouds look quite differently. And just, some thoughts as I'm, passing a whole bunch of tsunami debris when we were going by, and just everything changing. The color changes, everything changed. And that's a page for camping that got in by mistake, but that's okay. And then the one other thing, so with this particular sketchbook, it ended up being part of several pieces that I sent back to the museum so that they could have an exhibition. And it's really funny because this lady left this note in the back of my sketchbook, which I cherish it so much. So she writes, July 22nd, 2013. I love coming back to the island again after 35 years. It is as beautiful as I remembered. Keep it that way so our offspring can enjoy it too. Thanks for being here. Winnie Howitt, left in 1969. So your sketchbook, I think, is also a place where you can feel quite secure in inviting people in as well. And and that's the end of that sketchbook. One of the things that I found was really kind of neat about that is that I have someone else is contributing their thoughts to the work and to the experience of me traveling there. So that's sort of the segue on how I got started in working through those sketchbooks. And the next time that I sort of picked it up, actually, like on the heels of that trip, I ended up being diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And so then I was at the point where I couldn't work anymore in painting large paintings. My hands were burnt, my fingernails were non-existent, and it just hurt to be able to sketch or to do anything. So I actually turned to this, and lo and behold, Micheline, you're going to recognize that. It started this. Micheline has a painting that I did.
It's right behind me.
No, there it is. Yeah, you can. So there's the sketch, and talk again. Oh yeah, if you can see
Behind me.
there. Yeah. So that painting started in this sketchbook. And I was, to be honest with you, it's emotional for me to share this journal with people, but it's also good for me to share this journal with people. So I started this sketch because I was kind of, the worst thing that I was worried about at the time is that Grace was only 8 years old. And here I was with stage 3 breast cancer. So lots of thoughts around that, and culminated into a painting, which I'm very proud of and very happy that Micheline and her family has it. And then I was like, well, there are paintings I want to do that I can't do. So how do I start kind of working on those ahead of time? And working with the watercolor is a really great non-committal way to kind of work through what some of those things might look like. And then I started working on these indigenous figures, which to me were very important in my healing and in my life, and they've transformed into its own little painting practice as well. So this is where they started. This is where they kind of had their creative birth, and that's the really nice thing, is that you can use these sketchbooks to just play around and kind of create little ideas and work with color a little bit and try and figure out, yeah, does this going to work, or is it not going to work, or whatever, and just have a really nice kind of non-committal way of expressing yourself. And maybe there'll be something in the end. For me, they ended up doing that. The other thing was that Kevin would take me for drives in the countryside. And as you know, there's like all these little grain bins. So they were really neat because I just really enjoyed getting out and going for a car ride and seeing them. So, having the opportunity to sort of observe those and just observe, like when you look at it, it's just blocks of color, right? Blocks of color, a few little lines going on. That's it. That's all you need. Yeah, and then I started working on refurbishing a trailer. And so then I drew a picture of myself drawing inside the trailer, which was kind of fun. So all of the things that I couldn't do, I couldn't work on big canvases at the time, but I could work on little canvases and little vignettes and little bits of things. I had my family come and visit, so I was just sitting down at the bottom of the Banff gondola in between treatments and sketched a tourist. God knows there's enough of them. And then my daughter and my niece at the Bow Falls. But like these things you have to capture really quickly, and you have to this is where I'm talking about firing your procrastinator and firing your perfectionist, and just getting down those major basic shapes and colors, and then committing them to memory and doing them really quickly. So this would have been, I would have captured those really quickly with the pen, and then gone in, added a little bit more detail, and of course they're there, so I know what color their clothes are, and just kind of put them all together. And again, just more sketches that don't have color on them yet. I had lots of time sitting at the Columbia ice fields at the Athabasca Glacier. My family kind of, I don't know, maybe they're up here, walking up here somewhere, I don't know. But I had time when I was just sitting there to kind of work in the car with this on my lap and create that. I quite like it. I like that one. Great memory. And then, the other thing is, I used this a lot in the waiting room to kill the time, because I hated being in the waiting rooms when I was sick. So it was really neat to actually have a chance to observe other cancer patients and draw. And then it's a really neat thing because they're engaged in what it is that you're doing. And it just brightens everybody's day to kind of work around some different things. So yeah, and then going back and forth, of course, through that gap as you go eastbound towards Calgary for treatment. So that's, I think that's pretty much all of the, you can just see, they're just little sketches of things that happened during the time that I was in treatment, places that I went, things that I did. And I look back at it and went, wow, I went a lot of places, I did a lot of things and got a lot of art stuff done. Look at that. I took Grace with me to Calgary for radiation treatment. We went to Market Mall and picked out her birthday gifts. So unless I had made that notation, I probably wouldn't have remembered what we were doing that particular day. And just some more pieces, and then another friend who posted a picture of her farm online, and I just sketched that from Facebook. And the elk up on Three Sisters Ridge. So just lots and lots of opportunity to kind of get in there and create some things. And, out of all of that, and we were at the powwow then in August when I was still in radiation. And then these are really quick sketches because they're moving, right? So you got I just want to catch the spirit of the flying colors and how things were going there at the powwow. Lots more sketches. Yeah. So that is basically, I would call those my two most successful complete books, as far as, I'm just going to change so I can see you all again. Yeah, we'll do this. Nope. There, I see everybody again. Okay, so what I want to know right now is sort of any comments you have, or anything that you might think about, the purpose for me in those two books. Those were very different purposes, I think. One was to record my trip through Guayhanas National Park. And the other one actually was to record my trip through cancer treatment. And I think that they're both pretty telling and very successful, and things that I wouldn't remember, the little joyful moments that I don't remember, like the fact that did not remember that that is where that sketch, that painting started that Micheline has. So, you know, that's kind of an interesting notation to see what can happen from those books and how they can grow. But at the time, they're there for a very quick, very immediate process to kind of capture the feeling and capture whatever is going on with your life visually and in your mind and in your heart while you're creating those little bits. And they don't have to be fancy, right? They are not fancy. They are pretty minimal. Any thoughts? Any ideas spring to mind of how you might be wanting to use your journal after I kind of gave you a little peek through what I do with mine, because I have like other things that I do in the journals too. So I can't wait to show you. Any more questions, thoughts?
It's scary. I had thought to use it for traveling, and it's kind of interesting to see what you've done with it. It's always good to see what other people think or do, to give yourself ideas of how you might do it. And it's also really encouraging to see that some of the sketches are really very sketchy. Like even I could manage one or two of those.
You absolutely can. All of you can manage all of this type of sketch. It's really about, you know, getting that essence, Gary, like that really just the bare bones minimum of something that can actually give you a better memory than even a photograph. Because if you take that 5, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute to do that, you know, essential sketch, even though you have to get down to the bare bones. You don't have time to do eyes and eyelashes and individual hairs and all of those things that we tend to kind of snap towards, which is the detail in a painting. And so it's very much an easy thing to do. Like stick men are us in this, right? Stick men are us. And I think, Micheline, that might answer your question right there. Like, how do I not make a mess out of it? Stick men, baby, stick men. They work. And it's you'll see the stick man, somebody else will see the stick man, but you will see something very special in whatever is in that essential drawing that's there.
Can I ask about the weight of the paper?
Who's talking?
This is Becky. This is Becky. And,
oh, Becky. Okay. Yep.
And the weight of the paper, because yours seems to be, I have 140 pound, and I'm wondering, you seem to have a lighter one. So,
you know, these two sketchbooks I bought back in the day, not in the Dark Ages and not in the Middle Ages, but they are different from the ones that I use now. So I would say they're not 90 pounds. No, you know what? This one, the chemo to radiation one is probably 140 pounds. I can feel that. The Guayhanas in Residence one is very different paper. It's got, can you, oh, I'm not sharing my, tell me when I'm not sharing my screen, guys. Oops. Okay, there you go. Is it sharing? Oh yeah, it's sharing. You can see it. So this one, this is the Guayhanas National Park one. It's very different. It's a pentalic sketchbook, and it's got these perforations down there so that you can pull out a page. Now, as far as weight goes, yeah, it's probably about 90 pounds. But it's good paper. Like, it's good paper. So it took the pen and it took the watercolor quite well.
okay, thank you.
And that's I don't even know what brand that is, but I have no, it's not a pentalic.
That's true.
And then the other one is, yeah, this is definitely 140 pounds. Okay, so that's.
Janice, I have a very basic question.
Yes, who's talking?
It's Louise.
Louise.
Okay, if you were to right now get up, walk outside, you know, what would you actually take with you to do some sketching?
We're going to get to that because we're actually going to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
I just have this sense of, okay, so you've got these things and somehow you've got to have water and you've got to have this and you've got to have that. So thank you.
Yes, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that and we're going to do that.
It's Mary-Eve here. I just want to say thank you. You demystify. I do not like the full writing and the full drawing. I'm always in between and all this all confused in my head when I remember things traveling. And for me, it's for traveling because that's my life.
Yeah.
And I just love what you share. You already like kind of took a lot of weight on my shoulder of like, how do I do that? Do I have to just do one or the other? Is 2 journals? Somehow I got confused, making it harder for me than not. And I just love that. It's like, this is how my brain works. Sometimes there's words, sometimes there's images, sometimes there's smells. And I want to capture all this in once without having to be the fidelity of the deepness of the details. Thank
Exactly.
you.
Essence. And once we gather that essence, like really we can rely on our brains to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, that's what I realized. I was like,
sure.
I can see stories.
Yeah,
Yay,
sure.
that's what I need. Without it, the other people won't see my stories, but my stories will get back to me.
That's right. And then you can tell the story through yeah. Okay, good. Irene. Whoops, need to unmute you. Sorry, I need to unmute you. I can't hear you, hon. There we go.
Okay, I can use this on my trips, and that's really great. But I was wondering, what about journaling backwards?
Yeah, memory sketch. Yeah.
Can you comment on that in terms of how you might begin?
I can, and I'm going to lead you through an exercise tomorrow on how to do that.
Okay, perfect.
Amazing, right? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna lead you through an exercise on how to do that, and I think you'll find it quite useful. Okay.
Betty has a question.
Yes, Betty.
What pen was it that you mentioned something that doesn't bleed?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go through our materials here in a little bit, but it's the Artline or just one moment. I'll switch my camera again. Oh. So this one, I'll just take this one. This works really well. Okay, so I'll just talk about those right now. There are 2 kinds of pens that I have tried when I've done this, and one is the Pigma Micron pens, and they come in a variety of thicknesses. I find that the thin ones dry out really fast and are not worth it. So the point, like the 05 seems to work really well for me. And Grace and I have both tried these Artline pencils, and they're water resistant as well. And these ones are archival and water resistant. Actually, these are waterproof. This is water resistant. I find that they work because I don't really care if my lines bleed a little bit. But art lines and the Pigma microns, and those are, you know, like you can, we'll work with them in a little bit, and you'll see like you can put those down first and then put watercolor over it, or watercolor first, let the watercolor dry, and then put that over it. I would recommend the first sketch with this first, minimal lines, and then get some color on it. Are there any other questions around possible ways that you might find that you can use your watercolor journal?
Yeah, it's Anne talking.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say what impressed me and what made me feel less intimidated was how little color you used, but how effective the color was.
Totally. You do not have to have like advanced color theory in order to be able to get some color down on the page.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it'll work really well. You don't have to sweat that at all. I think what we're going to do, it's 11 o'clock. I want us to take a 5-minute body break, and we'll come back, and then we will, and just get up, move around, breathe, do whatever you need to do, and then we'll come back and we'll start into something else. Sound good? Okay. All right, so I'll meet back here at 11:04. Okay, 11:05. How's that sound? Okay. I have left my speaker on. If anybody has any questions, just let me know. I'm just going to be in the other room. I'll be right back. Okay. Oh, everybody's back. I'm back too. All right. Okay. Before we go any further, I just wanted to say, are there any questions up to where we've gotten to so far? Tanya, just yeah, if you unmute, just unmute yourself and say, hey, it's so-and-so, and I have this question.
Okay, well, you already know who I am because you said my name.
Because I can see your name on your name tag. I'm good with that now.
I noticed that you always use pen, not pencil, for your sketching.
Yeah.
Is the reason just because pen just has a better staying power, or because I find that sometimes it's just easier with a pencil because it just moves smoother across the page, but.
Well, I think that for one thing, I'm firing my procrastinator and my perfectionist, because once I put it down in pen, I don't have any choice. It's there, right? I've made a commitment.
Yeah.
And I think that that is a really great way to kind of get into the fact of not erasing or changing. And plus, you don't necessarily see that, like that beautiful black outline that can be more definitive versus a pencil, which is a little grayer and doesn't mesh as well with the watercolor. Plus, it will not necessarily stay that pencil mark, right?
Right.
Might get washed away by however much water you use in your watercolor. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
But more for the commitment. I think the commitment is.
Yeah, I would start erasing if I had.
Yeah. I think that it just, you know, this is what I see. This is how I'm doing it. There it is. And, you know, if it's not the way I like it, the next time I'll do it differently. That kind of a bit of an idea with it. Anyone else around pencils or questions before we go any further?
Becky here. My micron thing dried up. So can I just use a ballpoint pen?
Oh, you can, yeah, for sure. And then
until I get a new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Use whatever you've got. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so what I want to do, if there are no further questions at this time.
Janice,
yes,
it's Meg.
Meg, yes.
What is the white one you've got sitting there?
Oh,
The
Marilyn,
pen.
sorry.
When you
Oh,
first
yeah,
showed
I
it.
do have a white pen.
What is that
So this is a Uniball Signo Broad, and this is a Jelly Roll 10. And they were in one of my pencil cases, and I just threw them up on my desk today because I thought at some point in time, maybe you want to make white lines over top of a darker color. You can use one of these. I would suggest the Jelly Roll. We can try it at some point and see how they work. I don't think they'll be the same as they won't be functioning the same as a micron, right? The micron has a different purpose. But the idea with watercolor always is to use the white of the paper as your white, not to have white paint, right? Okay, but you know, you can still use the white effectively. I'm sure there's probably a good use for it. So we'll maybe find a use as we go along. Anybody else?
And the other pens you used were art lines, did you say? Is that the name of them?
Yeah, art line. And I think like most you can see upside down, backwards, art line. I can post up some photos with the materials in it afterwards. Okay.
I've been using these. These are the ones that I can't show you really, but the Faber-Castelli is what I find in town here.
Yep. Are they
they're called ink. What are they?
Are they waterproof, Lisa, or water resistant, or
artist pen? Waterproof India ink.
Yeah.
Maximum light fastness. That's just what is in the stores here, you know.
Yeah. Anything that's sort of light fast, that works really well. It's just that when you go over with watercolor really quick, you just don't want the line to bleed all over your page, because then you will have the mess that Micheline has been talking about. Don't make a mess with the pens. Yeah. Okay, so I think what I want to do is get you guys going. But I think, would you like to know a little bit more? Let me show you what's in my kit. I think that's important. And because I'm getting all kinds of questions about materials. So I'm going to show you the thing that everybody keeps saying. What? Are we going to bleed in this course? Yes, you're going to bleed. That's why we need a first aid kit. Okay, there's my first aid kit. My first aid kit is, I don't know if you ever heard of a company by the name of Blue Q, but they make these really cool recycled plastic, made from recycled plastic pencil cases. And they come in all sizes. Some of them are like quite small. This is like, I would call this a medium size one. Let me just grab another one I have here. But I used to, every time I saw them, I would pick one up because I thought they were not only clever, but handy. And they used to have quite a presence at Curry's art store. But there is no longer a Curry's, although there is Blue Q itself, like Q as in Queen. See, there's another one. This one actually says art supplies on it. Art supplies. This one, always be yourself unless you can be a unicorn, then always be a unicorn. So I keep various different pens and pencils in these. And so if I want to go somewhere really quick, I just grab one or the other or all of these and throw them in my purse or my knapsack. And I'm gone like lightning. I've got my studio with me. So the cases themselves are really useful. You should be able to pick them up online if you just like Google Blue Q. And so when I went to Guayhanas, I had to pack, like, to be able to get in and off a boat and a Tinder on and offshore all the time. And I needed a way to have things take up not a lot of space. And I'm going to just I'm going to move my camera up higher so you can see more of my desk here. There we go. It is not a first aid kit. It is a first aid kit for me because it's got all my art supplies in it. But everything that I needed to work on my color, my pocket watercolor journal is in this kit, except for one of the booklets, like one of the watercolor booklets. Okay, so let's unpack this. What have I got in here? First of all, I have this, which is a little thing that can hold water. And you can pick those up at the drugstore. So I have a couple of those in there. And then I have in here a bar of soap wrapped in, that's just like a bar of, I don't know what it is, Irish Spring or something. I use it to clean my brushes and to help with masking fluid. And I'll give you a little demo on masking fluid in a while. But these glassine bags, super handy. You can pick them up from any place that you get. You go to a bakery and you can get a cookie. It's the same little bag they give you a cookie in. You can like save your cookie bags, or you can go on Amazon and you can buy like, I don't know, there must be like 100 of them or something that I have now. And then you just have them, and they are super useful in a number of different ways. So that's my bar of soap. And then I have this, which is probably takes up the most space. And it's my watercolor kit. And this is a Winsor & Newton professional watercolor kit. There are Cotman watercolor kits, and then there are professional watercolor kits. What is the difference, you ask? Cotman watercolors are not as pigment loaded or necessarily loaded with pure pigment the way that artist colors are. So what do I mean by that? When you, and I think somebody asked me, I think Anne asked me, like, what is the difference between like a cerulean blue and a cerulean blue hue? When it says hue, it means it's not cerulean blue. It's like a synthetic form of that particular pigment. So it will not react the same way as a cerulean blue. And that's just part and parcel of color science, I guess, when it comes to mixing. So this is my my kit, as you can see, perfectly messy, left as probably from the last watercolor journaling class that I did. It contains a teeny tiny little brush, which is really all that you need for a lot of those quick travel paintings, and easily held in one hand. This part comes out as a palette, as you can see, and it snaps in on the other side. So if you have one of these little kits, they're all different. Winsor & Newton's kits are all different. But generally speaking, those palette areas are in there. See, there's another palette area in here too, but I can't get it out because my hands are not working today. Wait a second. No, I won't bother to get it out. But so all of a sudden I have like palette area here. I got it straight. Palette area here, palette area here. And then there are all of these half pans. And that's what they're called, a half pan of color. Full pans would be twice the size. But most people, most artists have half pan kits. And the paint itself is quite dry. It should say on the side of the pan itself, and those pans will pop in and out. Does anybody have a brand new kit where all the pans are all wrapped up? Wrapped up in yeah, Kayla, you have yours. Start unwrapping your colors, girl.
Yeah, but mine is very different than yours because the individual little things come out, but there's nothing that lifts up like as a unit like you lifted yours up.
Oh yeah, like the palette part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hold it up to the camera so we can see it?
It's all gonna fall out.
Oh yeah, so on the other side there, yeah, that you have that's your palette area.
So it's the student one that you had talked about.
Yeah.
So the Cotman, it's not the real one.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Okay. So there, like I said, they will all be a little bit different, right? Like some will have the palettes that'll pop out. Some will have these great big palettes. I don't see the point of the big ones. Like the little ones are good. Kathy's holding something up, but it's too blurry. I can't see it close. But yeah, you guys can take photos of your palettes and your kits and post them online. We're happy to see what you have. But there's lots of space in here for mixing and definitely enough colors to get everything and more than what I have shown you in the journals that I'm working with. So that's the kit. So that's also in there. The next thing that I have in here is a set of Fuu Mui travel brushes. And it's in the materials list. And you can get these on Amazon. And I have been remarkably amazed at the quality of these for the price. They are not a whole lot of money. And they come with 3 nice fat travel brushes. So if you don't want to use this little one and you want to use a bigger brush, you can use these. And everybody's going, well, where's the brush part? You just pull this part and slip the end in together. And there's your brush. So as far as quality goes, I think they are an excellent quality for the price. Be careful when you put them back in that you don't like kind of squish those. But there, look at the size of that big fatty. So that's a 12. So it's a 12, an 8, and a 4. And then this little one that I have in my kit is probably about a 2. So that's like way enough brushes for the type of watercolor journaling that we're doing. But super useful, these Fui Muis. They're not Fui Muis, but Fui Muis. And then you just, when they're done, you just put them back in. I will show you a little bit about brush care as well.
It's
Also,
Marilyn. Janice, can I just interrupt? I just went into Amazon to look at the Fui Mui, and there's also a Kolinsky Sable. Do you know anything about those in comparison?
I would have to see them in order to do that, Marilyn. So if you want to send them to me offline, I can look at them and give you the difference in them.
Okay.
Because Kolinsky Red Sable brushes are entirely different from probably buying the Fumuis.
Okay.
I have a set of Kolinsky Sable brushes that are absolutely brilliant brushes. I don't use those for watercolor journaling. I'll use them for final watercolors or egg temperas, but they're very expensive brushes. So, and I can give you the brand of those if you want. Okay. So let's just continue on with what I have in the kit here. So then I have an assortment of these micron pens, like an assortment. And I have this one, which is a general sketch and wash. So if you sketch with it and then you just use water all over top of it, you get beautiful gray tones. Those are really helpful. I like those. And I always carry these with me, the charcoal white, General's charcoal white, just in about every kit of everything I have. But yeah, like I just have a bunch of them piled in there. Oh, okay. And then I have a teeny tiny little scrap of a natural sponge. And then I have a rubber cement eraser or a pickup, which if you go to an art supply store, it'll probably look like this. Oops, can you see it there? Rubber cement pickup eraser. And that's for picking up the I want to call it Misket because or Frisket because that's what it was called in college. But it's like it's for picking up this stuff, the masking medium. Okay, so that's I'll show you how to use that in a bit too. So it's like Mr. Dress Up's tickle trunk. There's so much in here you wouldn't believe it. There is another little small bar of soap that I've shoved in there along the way. And then there is another little plastic palette in here, which can be used for extra mixing space if you need it. Super cheap at the dollar store or at the art store. I think these are maybe like 99 cents. They might be like the only art supply still under $1 that you might be able to find. Don't necessarily need it, but it's there. And then, oh my gosh, something I've been looking for all day yesterday and today. Didn't realize that I was actually smart enough to put them in my kit. These are my, can you see them? This is gold, ladies and gentlemen. These are my own watercolor dot cards. I have every color in my that I could possibly have in my kit in this much space. And for those of you that are traveling, like Luna, for you going on the Camino, you want to do this and you want to do it like now so that things are dry for when you leave. I'll show you those in a minute. I did post a video earlier on how to make these. I'll pull them out of the I'll pull them out. Actually, I'll pull one out now and show you what they are. So again, in the glassine bags. But can you see there? I have every color. Like, so this is the yellows to oranges to starting to get into the pinky reds. It's kind of hard to, can you see that, guys? Or is it just too much glare? You can see it, okay.
Okay.
So, and along this side, I've labeled what brand they are and what pigment they are, so I know what they are. There is enough pigment in here to last you a year. Like these actually, I made these in 2021. So that's how long I've had them. And that should tell you how much pigment you should be using, which is not very much compared to the water ratio. And that was Gary's question. He needs help with his water management. This is maybe a good indication of how to get some help with some pigment management as well, that you can use not very much pigment and have lots and lots available to you. So I've made these like every color out of all of the tube paints that I have. So there's all my blues. There's just like a regular palette here. So if I just want to paint out of that palette, I've got all those reds, a blue, a yellow, and a red as a primary. And then I also, as I have it on that demo video, I have them what is called a pull. So you're pulling some of that color out across the paper. So you have some idea of how it looks with lots of pigment and lots of water at this end. Okay, so there's quite a difference when you can see right here on this burnt sienna is quite saturated. And even the dot itself, the color dot itself looks, you can't really tell what a color is until you pull it. And we're going to practice some quote unquote, some pulls. So I have all of my dot cards in here. And here's another color. I just wanted to show you this one because it's so cool. For anybody that's trying to paint those really wildly colored flowers, there's only this opera pink by Holbein is the only color you're ever going to find that will match some of those geranium color type things. So just letting you know if you want a total match. Okay, so those are my dot cards. Those are super portable, probably weigh less than an ounce. And that's like a pile of stuff in one kit, right? There's a lot of stuff that you can fit into one bag of first aid. Is there any questions about any of the things that I have in my kit? I'm going to use.
Yeah, I have a question. It's Anne. And this is a really stupid question, I'm sure, but
no questions are ever stupid, ever.
Well, this one might be. Those dot cards. You have a big blob of paint at the beginning, which you were then pulling out. Is that blob of paint enough that you could use it to paint with?
Yes.
So you wouldn't, if you were really trying to minimize, you wouldn't even bother taking your paint set. You'd have those dot cards. Is that right?
That's right.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
No kidding.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm just going to clear off my desk here. I have a big desk, but limited space because there's like a lot of stuff to show off in this workshop. So.
Janice, Alice here.
Yeah.
When you're actually creating those dots, mixing them on a palette and then transferring a glob of them?
Nope, they're directly from the tube, and I'm going to show you tubes. I just gotta get...
from tubes. Okay.
Yeah, from tubes. So I think that Lee, when you were looking at first getting into watercolor, I told you to go get a dot card. Like, don't pick your colors until you have a chance to get a dot card and decide what you want to use, right?
Super helpful. Yeah.
Super helpful. Okay, so what I'm going to show you are a couple of manufacturer's dot cards. Hang on, I just got to get Gary back in. His internet's not working. There. So I have, there are dot cards. Before you go and invest a lot of money, and I'm talking about a lot of money, in professional artist colors, you want to buy or get or order from your local art supply store or from the manufacturer a dot card from the manufacturer. So this is a Winsor & Newton dot card. And there is enough paint on here for you to not only try every single color that they have, but also like to get a chance to paint with it, because there's enough paint here. Really, this paint could last me a year. With like, I would not use more than this in a year. If I was painting in watercolor all the time, I would use this up pretty quick, but it's going to give you a chance to explore the colors that you really, really gravitate towards. Or, you know, those color wheels that you're making in simple color theory. You can pick, you know, a yellow, a red, and a blue in as many combinations as you can, and, you know, figure out what that kind of a palette would look like when you're mixing neutrals. So basically, it's a big wide world of color there in 2 pages. So and they list all the information about, you know, I don't think they have pigment numbers on here, but they list the name of the color and whether or not it's light fast or transparent or semi-transparent. The other company that makes a dot card that's quite interesting is Daniel Smith. I'll pull this one out for you. And it's even more expensive than the Winsor Newton one. Let me just put one away before I pull the other one out. I'm gonna have stuff all over here and I won't be able to find anything. Okay. So this is, these are Danielle Smith's. I don't want to say Danielle. I meant to say Daniel Smith. Now, these are really interesting because there's a whole bunch of pearlescent or interference colors that they carry. And they're different because they're going to add some metallic color to the colors that you have. Iridescent bronze, neutral tints, iridescent sapphires. I really don't have much use for those, but if you're doing greeting cards or something, they're kind of fun to work with. And then these are all of their sort of their browns and their yellows. Again, lots and lots of pigment on here for you to use. And then there's the blues and greens. And the yellows and the reds and a few purples here too. I'll just make that bigger. And there's that opera pink, that super, super hot pink color. And all of the technical information is on there or available on the website for the manufacturer. I don't have very many Daniel Smith, sorry. Watercolors, because when I started out, I ended up going with Winsor and Newton, and I've got a pail full of those. So I'm not up to sort of changing brands midstream. I'm good with Winsor Newton, but I bet you it's really great. The other thing that is kind of really a lot of students that I have these paints. Kathy, I think you have them. The beam paints, which are made in Canada. Mary-Eve, you have some as well?
Yeah. And I put them in a little Ricola.
Yeah. So see those? Those are what they call paint stones. They're so cool. So that's an indigenous led company out of Manitoulin Island. They're making waves with their watercolors. They are beautiful. I've seen everybody work with them, and they just look beautiful. So if you're just brand new and starting out, I would say go with Beam. They look like they're really awesome. My experience is all with Winsor Newton, and I'm a Winsor Newton girl. It's just, I can't switch now. I'm too old. There are some things that I've invested in that I'm not reinvesting in again. And watercolor paints are one of them. So there is a video that's posted up on the classroom site that shows you how to make a dot card yourself from tube paints. All right. If you have dried out half paints already, you can't make a dot card from a dried out half pan. You're actually taking the wet paints and drying them out and it takes, 1 to 3 weeks to get them dried sufficiently. And in answer to the question, how long do they take to dry? It depends on where you are in the country. Alberta is going to dry out faster than Ontario will. And each pigment will dry out differently. Reds generally take longer to dry. Cadmiums take longer to dry than, say, for instance, earth tones do. So just a couple of hints on that if you're dealing with an imminent trip and trying to be super lean with your dot card situation, that they might not dry out in time. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Can I just ask one question? It's Anne, Janice.
Yeah.
If you were making those dot cards, we would do it in the other course or other. We were doing the color wheel.
Yes.
Could you do that? Just use your 3 colors and just develop the dot cards from those 3 colors, and again work it up to getting your tertiary colors as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'd love to try that. Okay.
Yeah, you can just work that. You can make it in any shape or form that you want to. Use a good piece of stock watercolor paper when you're doing it, because it'll hold up better in your purse or your knapsack or whatever it is you're carrying.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to just look at the chat because it looks like there's a fair number of questions, and then we're going to move into actually doing something. Yes, Louise, beam, paint stones.
And can you tell me the difference when you say paint stones with beam? I mean, I really love them, but the difference.
That's what she's calling them.
Okay.
Is paint stones. Yeah. Yeah.
I love their little, they give you, keep giving you samples to carry.
Yeah. Yes, they do. They give samples.
They give you little
very generously. Yeah. They are doing dot cards. Yeah. Yeah.
And they gave me like a wood palette.
Yeah, like I have never heard of anybody that has not been, any student that has never been just like totally ecstatic with their beam paints. I think a few of you have them. Betty, don't worry about tomorrow. Like everything is recorded, so you can always check back and do the exercises that way. Kayla, committing to memory, not always easy. Correct. That is very correct. And Marilyn, sea kayaks for 9 days, the images. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just check down, make sure I've covered everything off here. Fumui, yes, it's Fumui. Oh, and Kathy provided the link there for anybody that wants to go to the Beam website. Okay, and Tanya has used the Beam paints as well. So excellent recommendations from any student that has used them. I haven't heard anybody that hasn't had a wonderful time with them. So, okay, let's do something. How about that? Everybody ready to like actually do something instead of talking about materials? We'll talk more about materials, but I just wanted to give you an idea about what I have in my kit and how small it can get so that you can really take advantage of, size. Size will matter. Okay. So the first exercise we're going to do is, everybody kind of got water set up and your paints and a piece of paper ready to be able to do something? Yes. Just take a few seconds there to get yourselves ready. And I think the first thing that we're going to do is a bit of an associative exercise with your mind and color, because it's really easy to get caught up in CIN numbers and pigment numbers and get into the science of color and go down a really deep rabbit hole. And we're not going to do that. It's better as you have your kit to begin to discover for yourself how your colors mix together and what they can do for you. And in order to kind of do that, you kind of have to begin to get familiar with what it is that you have and how things mix up. And, you know, once you get through the simple color theory and you get to the part where you're starting to mix to create all those beautiful neutral colors, like, you know, these grays and browns and everything else that comes from, you know, a very small number of pigments, you are going to find that you will automatically begin to know how to mix with the pans or the palette that you're using. And the reason I suggest to sort of start with 3 when you're learning color is so that you don't get sidetracked by all those shiny opera rose colors and everything else that you can go out and buy and spend money on and never really use, or you can mix very closely with some really keen primaries. So what we're going to do first is an associative color exercise. And I should get my own color. What did I just do with my, oh yeah. Okay. I put it away. I should not have put it away. I need to have it out. And I'm going to share my screen with you. And what we're going to do is we're going to, within the room that we're in, we are going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. We are going to kind of try to get 20 colors mixed and described in a very short period of time, which I will tell you about shortly. I'm just going to share my screen first. And this is where we really begin to fire that procrastinator. Okay. So I'll pull this back down again so that you can see it more clearly. So we're going to look around the room. We're going to try and match the colors to, can you guys see that? To the things that are around us. So here I have, let me see, what have I got? I've got this orange, which was the color of toasted cheese on my tuna melt. I've got the blue of my mechanical pencil. I've got the color of the mouse. Okay, there was not actually a mouse in the house. Well, there probably is, but I didn't see it. I'm talking about the color of my computer mouse. My saddle, a bonsai tree, the color of my easel, the color of my daughter's cheek, the color of a sweater I was wearing, the color of an Afghan that's in the room, color of the Kleenex box. Well, I did celery over here, and then I did more celery here because I saw darker celery. Peanut butter. Scarf, another scarf. Grace's unicorn. My desktop. A bridle, and the sky outside. So those are all the colors that I could see and mix. And I think what I'm going to do is give you, so there's 20 there. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to mix up and swatch 20 colors and describe them by name. Okay? Sound good? Any questions? So anywhere you're sitting, there's going to be things that you see in color. And I just want you to get those down and then write down what they are. And it's going to be a whole heck of a lot easier to remember the color of the scarf than it is, so for instance, say, oh yeah, no, that was ultramarine blue and cadmium red and a little bit of alizarin red, and you know, like just mix things until you can get them as close as you possibly can. So what I am going to do while you're doing this, I'm going to set a timer. I know some of you have already started, but we're going to go with 10 minutes to mix 20 colors. And I'm going to Oh, look, you're getting more time. I'm going to put my timer on for 10 minutes. Oops. And we're going to go and go. Ah, I'm not ready. Okay, now I'm ready. Should probably put my mixing stuff up here so you can see what I'm doing. And a lot of this is just, oh, I don't now. Okay, there's one thing you shouldn't do. If you've got a glass of water or your cup of coffee near the water that you're dipping in, move it far, far away because you do not want to be drinking or eating any of the paint that you're working with, people. Remember with watercolor, less is more. And when I'm saying less pigment, more water. Five minutes and 20 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And 5 seconds to finish up whatever you're working on. Oops. Okay. Okay, who got, I didn't even count how many did I get. 2, 3, 4. Okay, I got 20. Okay. Did anybody get 20? Oh, did anybody get more than 20? Mary Eve, you got more than 20.
I got 21.
Atta girl. Anybody get more than 21? No? What have you got? Just give us an idea of what you have a list of. Just hold it up there. Actually, I think I can spotlight you. If I can remember how to do this.
I mean,
Okay.
okay.
Oh, look at you go. All right. Yep. It's hard for you to read. Yeah.
Yeah, the reading, I made it that way. I've got a very, very colorful rugs full of clouds and the tanka that's right beside me with those triangles colors.
Yeah, you do.
So I went to replay those triangles of colors and also the crazy clouds rugs that have underneath me.
Good. Excellent.
And tie cushions. I did a rug in a tanka kind of color. I never did that. I loved it. It was fast, but it was really good to realize we could create those colors really quickly. So thank you.
You don't have to think really, right? It's like look at the color, mix the color, paint the color. And there's nothing that happens and like it's really great if you can give yourself less time to do things than it is to give you more time to do things.
Definitely works better for my brain. So wow, thank you.
Yeah. So and this is just like a tip, like like it is if you're moving along, you're gonna get 20. But if you have less than that, it's also okay because what I want you to do is just think about what were did anybody else get 20? Did anyone else get 20? 19? I got 20, but I don't need to share mine. 20, 19. 19?
I got
Alice
20.
got 19.
19? If you got 19? Who wants to share that's got a 19? Alice, you want to tell us what you got?
Well, I have a picture, a painting in one corner and a photograph from a family reunion in another that I was sort of staring at.
So can you just hold them up again so we can see them?
So, does that show?
Oh yeah. Now, so you see, you have labeled them the colors instead of labeling them the thing. So so
that's
while
because
we're
most of it came from either the painting or the thing. The exception was the brown orange that was the desk color.
right, okay. So write down desk and write down painting on all the things that are because you want to associate the object that you're painting with the color that you have used. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else get 18? Lisa?
I just had 20, but this is.
You had 20, okay. Let me just spotlight you up here for everybody. Okay, so I can read those. Just hold it there. Oh, maybe I can't. Rug stripe, Kleenex box, old case, board, envelope, neighbor's roof, floor shadow, eraser, table leg, more, Kleenex box, wipe cloth, something old plastic, something.
Yeah.
Bamboo box, guilt. Does that say guilt?
No, it's this quilt. And you know what? I'll just say some of them are not very accurate, but once I had put them down, once I put them down, that was it.
That's right. That's the commitment, right? It's the same.
What was great was really like for my challenge, trying to use more water, and it's just so brilliant. It's just such a brilliant way to focus and say, more water, you can change the color so much, or less water. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And like this is it's a great exercise to do, 10 minutes. And you can kind of just wherever you're sitting, it's a great warm-up exercise as well to kind of get closer and closer to the colors that you see, but also associate them with the object that you're working on. Anybody else? Anybody else get 17? Janine? Janine's holding hers up, so we'll just focus on that. Okay. Coffee with milk, my favorite. Sunflowers on something.
It's on an art book that's sitting on my desk.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Outside seashell, office walls, desk lamp, inside seashell, Van Gogh doll jacket.
It's just my little inspiration doll that I have.
Yeah, that's awesome. The lake in the painting, sea glass, paint water. That paint water is pretty dark.
Yeah, it is pretty dark.
You need to dump that one. Office carpet, paint paper cover, masking fluid, sky and painting, candle, pastel crayon, and journal cover. Awesome. Those are great. It's so good to be able to kind of associate the color, see the color, mix the color, paint the color, see the color, mix the color, paint the color. That's what you want to get to when you're working with this journal part of things. And you're going to know, if you do all of these swatches, you're going to know as you do them and as you go along, you're going to get better and better and better at this. So those of you that have taken the drawing classes with me know that practice is my big thing. The more you practice, the better you get. Every time you do something, every time you pick up a brush and mix a different color, you're going to get some, you're going to improve. And your knowledge of color is going to improve because you can then go back and go, okay, I wrote those down as I did them. Are they close? And you can go and look around and you can see, well, that one's maybe a little bit off, but I'm getting what it is. And oh, maybe I need to add, a burnt umber to my palette in order to get that color. So those are the kinds of questions and answers that you can work with yourself to be able to try and get a better knowledge of color in the immediate present, right? In the immediate sense, as you're kind of working and wanting to work and commit to that quick drawing. So say, for instance, if you're on a bus tour somewhere and you only have like a few minutes at a certain place, then you're going to want to be able to this is really great, but I only have like 30, 40, maybe 3 minutes to sketch. I'm going to sketch quick. I'm going to get that color down quick. And then I'm going to move on to the next place and stuff that's going on. So you're not spending hours and hours and hours in front of a subject in this particular case, right? You're getting to know your colors and speed up your ability to mix and replicate those colors. Anybody feel like they really had a hard problem with that exercise? Because I want to know if you're having troubles too. We want to know the troubles because this is not the easiest thing to do, to fire your procrastinator and your perfectionist all in one day. Tanya?
Well, I didn't have trouble with the exercise, but my perfectionism got in the way and I'd spent too much time getting the exact color before I put it down on the paper. So.
Exactly. Good.
I'm like, yeah, that's typical.
I was thinking about this particular workshop over the last couple of weeks, and it's like, what is that phrase that, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades and pocket watercolor journaling. Okay, so I want you to think about that it's also getting as close as you can to something matters. It's just getting close. You don't have to be perfect. It's like sometimes brown is brown, right? And maybe it's not like a purpley brown, or maybe it's like a purpley brown with green undertones, but it's a brown, right? So just holding that thought and knowing that you can get close, that you don't have to be perfect with the color, nailing that color. Anybody else?
It's Betty, and I'm finding trouble with the amount of water to
Yeah.
use.
So too much water or not enough water?
Too much water.
Too much water. Okay. What size brush are you working with?
I have no idea.
Can you hold it up so I can have a look? That looks like a bigger brush. So,
Yeah.
so one of the things that you can work with when you're, like I always talk about any course I'm talking about, we start with the idea of getting to know your tools and your materials. And if your brush is too big and it holds a lot of water, you're going to be mixing twice as much paint that you need, and you'll have way more water in it. So I think in that particular case, and Gary, I know we were talking earlier about wanting to learn about water management, that's one of the things that you want to know. You want to use the size of the brush for the job that you're doing. So for an exercise like that, I just use my little, I'm not
Sorry.
even, you guys can't even see me talking. Maybe you don't want to see me talking. Yeah. Like I'll use this. Oh,
No, we were looking at your desk before.
I know. Now there we go. So I use the little tiny brush that's in my my kit, and I think it's a number 2. I would be surprised if it's anything bigger than that. It's so worn out, the paint's coming off it. I don't even know, but I'm saying that that's a number 2. And brushes do come in all sizes. So I think by the looks of it, you maybe have a 6 going on there. And those Fumui brushes that I had that I showed earlier. So this is a 12, this one, which would really hold a lot of water in the shank there. And you wouldn't want to use that for this particular job. So match the brush to the job. Irene?
Okay, can you just back up a little bit? I did my usual, which is just jump into coloring.
Yeah.
You just take time and demonstrate from the very moment you pick up the brush and you dip it in water.
Yeah.
And what do you do before you put in the paint? That's
sure.
hand holding I need.
Okay, hang on. So while you guys were doing that exercise, I was also doing the exercise. So you can go back and you can revisit that video and see what I mixed, because I don't think about it sometimes. I just go at it. But I'm going to show you. I'm going to do a little demo for you, because I realize that it's really important for people that are beginning with watercolor to kind of know how much to use and how to do it. So one of the things I start with always, okay, I'll give myself a fresh piece of paper here. Okay, so there's my fresh piece of paper. There's my palette. And off to the right here, I have not 1, but 2 jugs of water, okay? I always try to work with one that I clean the brush in and one that I go to with fresh water. So right off the start here, you guys can see that this water is a little dirtier than this one. And I think, who was it earlier who had green water? Was it Jan or no?
Janine.
Janine, sorry. Yeah, Janine. So your water's pretty saturated. So you don't want to paint, Irene, out of your dirty water. So I'm going to start by make sure, like, I'll dip it in really quick. And then one thing that I didn't do that I should have done was have my little paper towel out here. So this also comes down to a little bit to water management. So I usually will have like a piece of paper towel in my workspace as well. So I'll start by like dipping in the dirty water at this case, because we've already done some painting. So I'm going to like clean it off there, and then I'm going to dab it, and then I'm going to go into my clean water. So I have clean water to mix with. All right. Clean water on my brush. I know there's quite a bit of water on there, so I'm dabbing again to get some of that water off. Now, let's say I'm going to mix a gray. I'm going to go with this blue. I'm just putting a little bit of blue on there because there's already quite a bit of water on my paint. So there's like, it's already wet. I don't really need to put more water on it, but I'm just picking up just a little bit of that blue. And then I'll go over here. Oh, can you see that one? No, you can't. I'll go into this one. So I'm putting that blue on my mixing palette. And then I know already that if I mix that blue, like, so this cobalt blue with my, and I'm not even cleaning my brush, but I should. I'll clean my brush. It would be a good artist. And I'm dabbing again. And then I'm going to go and get some of this burnt sienna color, and I'm going to mix those two colors together. And there we go. That's about all the paint I need to make a tiny little square. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to swatch that gray. And that's it. And then I'll clean it off in my dirty water and then dip in my clean water. And I guess it's like a little bit of dip, dip, dab. and then into the paint. And then I'll grab some of this yellow up here and I'll just do it again. And you can see like there's a like darker saturation at the top than there is at the bottom. But I'm going to show you how to swatch as well, because I think swatching is a really, really important part of learning how to get your colors. So is that answer the question, Irene, just in how to handle?
Yes, it clarifies it because yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, so those are the colors that I got from the palette that I'm working with. But I do want to show you, like, I swatch like crazy. Swatching is like, I swear it's my favorite pastime. Let me see if I can find a journal here that's got swatching.
And what does swatching means?
Swatching means like getting a swatch of color and getting to know your colors and know what they do. I have so many sketchbooks. That's the other thing too, is that you may want to have more than one sketchbook. I'm not gonna, oh, here's a good swatch. So here's, I'm gonna I'll move my water back off here. So that is a swatch page where I've just kind of played with the colors a little bit to see how they look, how much water I have on my brush. I mean, I practice this all the time, make up these little squares and try not to be like too saturated in my colors. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about swatching. And let me see, I know I have another swatch example. Swatcher journal. Not that one. I will find it. One other thing, maybe actually, that, oh, there it is. There. It's in my demo book, which I put over to the side. Let's see what else we have here. So those are color notes. Here's some more swatching. So these are from the watercolor crayons. I think I described to you guys in the materials list. Like, don't go out and buy them, but I did want to show you how to use them, and I can do that. I can show you how to swatch with those, and this is what they look like. They're watercolor crayons, Sargent watercolor crayons. There's 36 in this kit. This is enough for probably all of us to cut them up in little pieces and share them and use them for the rest of our lives. So if you have somebody that's close to you and you want to share a set with, you can, because they are not, whoops, They're not expensive. They have great pigment. There they go. There they are. And they last a long time. So I'm going to just pick one of these out of here. I'll pick the cobalt blue because I like cobalt blue. So there's a couple, so these are all the swatches of the colors that I have in this kit. But they will do, and see the cobalt blue is already up there. But they will do slightly different things for you than just watercolor pens. And if I just take the crayon and I go like this, and I just put a little bit of pigment down there. And then I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to dip, dip, dab. And I've got some water on there and I'm just going to like tickle that a little bit. And look at all of that pigment that's there. Holy Hannah. That is a ton of pigment from just a little bit of scratching. Now you can see it also leaves a bit of texture and roughness on that area right there. But they're also like, I love them. I think that you can also use them differently. You can use them as just the crayon itself. So if I've got the dib dib dab on the water and I just go onto the crayon and I wet the crayon a little bit, I'm picking up some pigment there. And I can put that down. Oh, it's not doing as much. There. Well, there's a little bit of pigment there, but I might have to work it a little bit. It's probably slightly waxier type of, there we go. It's fallen off. There we go. There, it doesn't give me that depth of color the same way if I'm going at the crayon itself. But there we go. It does give me some, which is nice. And I like that light color. So that's one way to use a different material of water-soluble crayon. And these I picked up on Amazon. I just thought they were the coolest things.
I have a question backing up.
Yeah.
Because I was in a rush, I went from color to color. What do you do with it afterwards when you've messed up? If I dipped the pen in an ochre and then dipped it in another color, and now I've got a mix of colors on my palette.
You mean like this? Like, okay, so you have like all this kind of mix on your palettes and on your paints?
Yes.
Gee, so do I.
So do you pat them off?
I actually never do. Unless I'm looking for an absolutely pure, like ultramarine or a pure, I just don't bother. I could every now and then if I need to, but I just find that when you mix them, they're better than they are individually with the pigments the way they are. So like you can see my yellow ochre's got some brown on it. I don't care. That's fine. I really don't clean these off unless I need more mixing space. I just let them ride because I've already mixed these colors, right, Betty? You can always go back in and use those colors again because they'll dry up and you've mixed a color, it's all ready to go. You don't have to go back in and clean it up. If you're a person that just absolutely cannot live with that and you need to clean your palette all the time, go ahead and clean it.
Well,
and
I stopped labeling thing and just labeled it playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that make sense to everyone? It doesn't, messy colors is,
thank you.
It's fine. Messy colors work unless you want like the pure pigment that's in there, and then you need to go in and clean off your paint. And the way to do that is to kind of like dip it in clean water, rub the surface to make sure that you're getting just the pigments that's there, and then clean it off in your dirty water. and it's pretty much good to go. Yeah. Irene?
Okay, about these swatches, is the idea that before you begin actually even painting, you have an idea of the colors you want to use, and then you develop the swatches, and then when you start, you go back to the swatches to mix those colors? Like
No. I am 63. I've been painting all my life. I always swatch the colors. Just because I become more and more familiar with my colors, the more that I use them. So I'll never go back and look at these and go, oh, I want to use that chrome yellow. But I might want to go back and use this as a library. That's one way to think about it. But if I've taken all these Sargent crayons here and I know exactly by the name of them what color they're going to produce, then I know that, right? I'm learning my colors. I'm learning how to ensure that I know what those colors are. But then, like here, I'm still swatching. I'm swatching all the way through with all of these different colors that I've got, just because I like to swatch. It's a form of relaxation for me. I love to see color, and I love to see kind of what it does and how it sits on the paper. So, like that one that I showed you earlier, the toasted cheese on my tuna melt, I think that was exactly the color of the toasted cheese on the tuna melt. And I was just like, okay, when I look at that now, I know that I mixed like a cadmium orange and some burnt sienna, and I found that exact orange. So you don't need to like go like, do I need to start by my watercolor career by swatching? No, you don't. But I would say swatching is something that you should be doing all the way through when you're learning watercolor. All the way. Like I'm still swatching. I'm still learning. I don't know everything about watercolor. I'm gonna every time I use my paints on different paper, I'm gonna have a different result, right? So you have to know there's lots and lots of variables there, but there is no sort of set that like do this, like do, yeah, and darts too, do a swatch and match that color. Although, like when I show you guys how to do the this, which is the color wheel, I do want you to keep those because these are really important. This shows you out of these three colors here, my primaries and my secondaries, so mixing each of those, what exactly I'm going to get from, using a yellow red and adding some blue. I'm going to get this, 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 and this. So when you go through that self-study course, you'll be able to end up with a swatch card like this, which pretty much gives you the range of colors that you can get from these three to start with, right? And look at all those. There's enough there to keep any artist happy if that's all the colors you ever had your whole entire life. Yeah. Any more questions before we go on to a new subject?
Yeah, I have a question. Lee here.
Yeah.
You said watercolor crayons, not that I've used them much, but I do have a set. You said they leave a texture. Could you describe that texture, please? Is it detrimental?
Yes. No, it's not detrimental. It's like if you want a texture in your color, like, can you see this? Can you see these? I might have to take a photo.
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Can you see where there's like on the left-hand side, there is where I laid down the actual crayon itself. And then towards the right is where I add the water.
Okay.
So it's giving you more texture on the left-hand side than it is throughout. And that is going to depend on the paper you're using as well, right?
Okay.
So if you have hot press, which is a very smooth paper, you're not going to get as much texture as you will if you have cold press paper. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Let me do a little more painting and then another little exercise together. Okay, let's go to another exercise together. So the next one we're going to do is called moments. And this is, I think I've talked to any of you. Why is it saying I confirmed that I'm speaking English? Yes, I am speaking English. Okay. Watercolor moments, like you saw in my Guayhanas National Park journal, there were little bits and pieces of things that happened, like on the page, little different ideas on the page. So we're going to do a bit of what we call a spread with our watercolor moments here. And for those of you that have taken the drawing classes, I usually mention the idea of moments in your paintings. So what I mean by that are just little vignettes, little areas of your drawing that you're really, really happy with. In this case, our moments are just going to be like little vignettes of things. Like I'm looking at the window here and I've got a porch, a screened in porch, and there's a shelf there with a dinner bell and a milk bottle and a antique coffee maker. So if I was to kind of think about just that area, that's a moment, right? That's a little moment area where I can just go, okay, I'm just going to catch that little vignette, that little bit of information. And the idea is to go, again, like we did with the color mixing, pretty quickly. So we have, like here I've done some trees that were outside of my window. This was a Diet Coke can. It looks like mountains, but that's actually my daughter's leg on an ottoman. This was one of Looney's little toys. This was a lamp, one of the lamps I'm using from the animation stage here. The three sisters out my window in Canmore, a little potted plant I had, a little poinsettia, and I don't know, a little landscape out the other side of the other window in my house. And then I just swatched the colors. And that kind of gives you like a page. It gives you like the idea of a moment in time, or a moment of something, just a little something. So when I go to do these, and now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate a little moment here and show you how I do them. Okay. So I'm not going to have a big palette or anything here. What did I do with all my pens? Pens. I have 100 of them. They're in a pen case. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I have my little micron pen. I don't even know if this one's working, so I'll give it a go. I'm gonna just do a quick little moment of what's in front of me. I've got so I like to start by giving myself a little box, a little frame to work with, and a little drop shadow. This pen is really almost quite dry. It's been sitting around for a while, but I'm okay with it. Okay. And I'm just gonna go, all right. I'm just choosing the essential lines that are in front of me. What I'm drawing is like a little salt shaker that I have that looks like a chicken. And I'm going to go outside of there we go. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. Maybe I'll give them an eyeball. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm just going to go and I'm going to just quickly observe the colors. And I see like he's got a little red comb up the top here and a little wattle. dib, dib, dab. And then I've got some yellow that I mixed over here. I'm just going to go into that, and I'm going to kind of get the yellow part of them. Got a little shadow underneath them. I'm just going to grab another little color here. I don't even care that that's running together. In fact, I love that it's running together. I'm just taking a little bit of that purple, putting it in there, putting it in at the back of his head. Don't even care that the red is running. And then he's got kind of like a little bit of yellow around his eye and his beak. And that's it. And that's my moment. And then I'm just going to go, oh yeah, I use this color. And I use this color. And I use this color. And that's it. My moment is done. My moment is over. The moment is over. So it's just a very, you guys can see that? Still pretty wet. This is my little chicken moment, my little salt shaker guy. So that's all there is to the moment. And that was actually, I should have changed my, I would have changed my pen, but I didn't. I should have, but I didn't. And I would have probably gone a lot quicker than I did, but I kind of slowed it down a little bit. But you can see how very rudimentary it is. It's just, well, I just want to capture that. It's got a lot of neat little colors to it. And, you know, when it dries, I might go back in and just do a couple more hatch marks here. My pen wasn't working very well. In fact, I'm going to throw that one out. And that's how you kind of create those moment paintings. And it's really neat to do those pages, when you're doing your journal, like to do a few moments pages. So the exercise we're going to do now is to do, I think I did, what did I do? Five. Let's do 5 moments on a page. And I'm going to give you 15. Yeah, I'm going to give you 15 minutes to do it. Okay. So that gives you, what, 3 minutes for each little moment, which is lots and lots of time. Okay. And go. And we'll actually meet back in 15 minutes. And I am right here. So if you guys need me, just yell. I'm just going to go to the other room for a second and clear off some of these water glasses off my table. So I'm not dipping my water in my coffee, or my brush in my coffee, I mean. Just remember, you're firing your perfectionist and your procrastinator. Oh, look at, I didn't even start the time. Bonus time. Okay, I'm going to put it down to 13 minutes. There we go. Okay. And don't get hung up in the details. It's just me side coaching you. I'm going to be like that person in your brain. Fire, you're fired, you're fired. Kill is laughing. You're not firing me. And the other thing that's really kind of neat about trying to get these moments down really quickly is that after, if you kind of work with um, your pen first, and you found you haven't put maybe quite enough details in to kind of give you the essence of the object in front of you, you have to wait until the watercolor dries, and then you can go back in and add those colors, like you can add that ink over top of the watercolor again. So that's always kind of a nice to know thing when you're working with the pen and the watercolor. Now, I do think this practice is a lot about being committed and being okay with that commitment after you're done. There are other places for finished watercolor paintings, if you know what I mean. Like, but this, your journal is that wham, bam, thank you, ma'am approach. I'm just reading over the questions you had about things that you wanted to learn as well. Becky, are you beginning to overcome those fear of making mistakes? I don't mean to interrupt your painting time here.
My screen went blank, and I had to come back on.
Yeah.
Me, well, I'm learning how to paint really fast. This
Good.
is interesting because I'm not a fast painter.
But now you are.
Oh,
today you are, and tomorrow you are. Okay, I will stop interrupting you.
Okay. How many am I supposed to do this time?
I don't know. How many did I say? 8 to 10? I think I let you guys off and said 5. Yeah, Kayla's like 5. You said 5. If you could get more than that, it would be awesome. Remember, no, not too much detail, the essence of what it is that's in front of you. Meg, you were asking about how to get down to the essence of an image quickly and still capture a sense of light and shade, value and color, movement and gesture. I think that's the only way that you can actually get the essence of an image, is to kind of work really quickly. And that's when you make those decisions that light and shade come in. You see those blocked light and shade areas really quickly. You see the value in the color really quickly, and you capture that movement and gesture really quickly. So I think the nature of the paint fast, paint committed will get you there. And limiting the time is one thing. Firing your procrastinator, firing your perfectionist, both of those things, and getting to the essence of the object that's in front of you. And Emily has all these great questions that everybody was like, yes, yes, I want to know how. Yes, those ones I'm going to take a look at more closely, because a lot of the things that we're doing are overlapping as we go through this course between today and tomorrow. And then anything that we're missing, I think it's my intention to go through and do some demos and post those videos up online for you guys. Does that sound good? Because Emily, you had some great questions around just basically artistic development or development of yourself as an artist going forward, because I know you have a great amount of experience. So kind of working through all of those things. I'm happy to work with you at any time on what you might be missing and what I'm giving you or not giving you, but yeah, these are going to be all some different life event tips and things as we go through doing some of those pages and ideas for that. Sound good? Okay, good. Two minutes and 22 seconds left. Okay, just a little less than a minute left. Emily, you look like you're already finished. Did you finish already?
Totally unfinished.
Yeah, oh, Irene, you're unfinished? Kind of fun moving really quickly though, right? Like it's just like, gotta do this really quick. Tanya, thanks again for that beam recommendation. You guys are just like making me want to go out and buy some beam paints now.
You're welcome. They're great paints. By the way, I finished 5 minutes ago. You'd be proud of me. I put away all the expectations and just scribbled and
Atta girl.
Out of here.
Did you stop at 5?
At 5, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you had extra time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
but they're really messy, but there's definitely no masterpieces here.
That's okay. No, that I think actually I want you to change your mind about how you think about that, because these quick sketches that we do are in fact quite masterful. It takes a lot to be able to capture the essence of something and throw some color on it really quickly and then have something come out looking close to, you know, like what it was that you saw or what you saw. I'm pretty happy with my little chicken. I'm like, I love that little chicken salt shaker thing. So
I was just gonna say thank you. I think I finally found like what I really like. That speed for me works so well.
You found your thing?
Yeah, it's
That's
like
awesome.
I'm like loving it.
Yeah, you know, and that's why I do call it like a whole separate practice from, you know, like long paintings. This is like short painting, fast painting, really quick, you know, categorizing of work that you can go back to later or you can just enjoy as it is. Okay, so I want to share with 3 people. I want 3 people to share with me, 3 people maybe that haven't shared yet, what their moments are like. And then we're gonna, if everybody is game, after that, we'll just have like a 2-minute walk around and then we can do one more exercise before we break for today, because I do have some things for you to do tonight if you're able to. And then we have a massive day of working again tomorrow. And today was mostly lecture, but there's like, I'm like looking at my list and I have a lot of stuff still to give you guys. So I thought if we could do one more exercise, then that would be pretty cool. Okay, well, let's do the 3 sharing first.
I'll share if you want.
Okay, who said I?
Me, Tanya.
Tanya, you've already shared, right? Did you
No, I haven't shown anything.
Okay, all right, okay, go girl.
Okay.
I'm going to spotlight you. Okay, your moments. Oh, look at that. There we go. Okay, tell me, you have a napkin with
I have a napkin, it's got fish on it, so.
Oh, yeah.
There's a fish.
Yeah.
And then
Hey,
the
look
cloud
at-
and sky, we have a big picture in our dining room here of the canola field and the clouds and stuff.
Yep.
And then this one, I just looked out the window to the side here.
Yep.
And the little goose one,
Perfect.
I was in BC and I just saw some geese at a pond when I went for a walk, so that's that one.
Yeah.
And then I took my Miata to autocross on Thursday, and so I got a picture of that, so I just quickly sketched that.
That's perfect. Excellent. That's exactly what you're looking for with these watercolor moments.
It was fun, actually, very liberating to not worry about mistakes and anything.
Yeah, and I think that's a thing. When we think about it, we have to think the difference between a sketch and a drawing and a finished drawing. They are worlds apart. Worlds apart. Okay. Who else would like to share?
Oh, let me.
Jan, I see you. Who said Jan?
Louise.
What? Okay, Jan. I'm gonna go with Jan. But I need you to unmute. Or yeah. I'll just spotlight you, Jan. Okay.
There we go.
All right, there we go.
So I have a box of crayons.
Oh, yeah,
and a picture of an iris.
Yeah.
Pencil sharpener and a water cup with paint water.
Excellent. Those are beautiful. Perfect.
Thank you.
That's exactly what we're aiming for here. Okay, who else has a Sharesy?
I can
Kayla.
do.
Oh, who said, okay, let me do Kayla. Gonna need you to unmute, Kayla. Oh, yeah. Just
Okay.
hold it up a little bit higher. Oh, there you go.
And the box is in front of me. Go away, box. Okay, so I did these are things that are very close to where I'm sitting. So an empty paint tin, a spray bottle, bottle of seltzer, a little fireplace from outside, and a couch that I'm looking at from the end view.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Okay, I'll take one more share because I know somebody was saying they wanted to share and I don't know who it was.
Louise been trying.
Who?
Louise.
Louise. Wait, I gotta find you. Oh, there you are.
All right. We're going with the I can't.
Okay, but you have your background on, so we can't see that.
Oh, you can't see that. That's
yeah.
good.
So if you can if you want to change your blurred background.
I don't know. How can I do that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Go ahead to somebody else. It's okay.
Okay.
Trust me,
It's
these
the
were
three
not.
dots on the right of your screen, and those 3 dots at the top right, and then you'll see a check mark by your blurred screen, and you just click on that and the check mark will come off.
Okay. Okay, I would like for us to do one more exercise before we break for the day, if we can do that. And then like you guys can at any time, I would love if you would take photos of the work that you've done this morning and post it up onto our classroom space, and I will post an article on how to make an article and how to do that in our space. So you can review that at your leisure and post. For those of you that have been with me for a while, you know how to post, and some of you don't. So that will give you an idea how to. Okay, let's go into another way to think about journaling. And this has to, who asked me earlier about, oh, Irene, you asked me earlier about memory. Like, how do you kind of work this into this particular practice? And I think that this kind of exercise right now. What the heck? Where did it go? Too much stuff on my desk. We'll work into that. Ah. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'll share my journal. I'll share my screen. Okay, bye-bye chicken. Okay. So the next thing that we're gonna do is it's a little bit of writing and a little bit of illustration. It's a little bit of, you can get a little more time to do this, especially like sort of in the evenings. I think one of the coolest things is that, you know, you have a busy travel day, you're doing a bunch of different stuff, you're going to restaurants, you're doing different things. And at the end of the night or the end of the day, you can actually sit down with your journal and kind of pull back from the memory of that day or the memory of that particular moment and create something out of that. And this is like a lot more writing and a lot less drawing or watercolor. But in my particular one, this is how it ended up. But this is what we're going to do. I want you to think back to one of the most memorable meals that you have ever had. And there could be like not just one, but maybe a bunch of different ones, and just pick one. And what I want you to do is I want you to talk about that most memorable meal in a stream of consciousness type of writing. So that means you're like, again, we're firing our perfectionists and our procrastinators here. And we're not worried about our grammar. We're not worried about our spelling. We're not worried about how our writing looks. We're just going to get that down very quickly about how memorable that meal was. And here's an example. I try not to cry every time I do this one. So I'm gonna try not to cry this time, but this one was very memorable for me. And it's a very, very strong memory in my head. And every time I do this class, I kind of break down, but I'm gonna like not break down this time. How about that? Okay. The most memorable meal moment in Haida Gwaii was at the Kai, sitting in sun-drenched warmth, the scent of the sea, warm cedar, and the chatter of the Haida cooks preparing our meal. What love I felt there, sitting with Grace, Kevin, and Ben, all my beloveds. The flatbread arrived at the table with a fragrant cedar board, the smoked salmon and herring kelp, a feast for the eyes as much as the palate. We moved into the first bite like a dancer in a Spanish flamenco. I could see the cooks looking through the open kitchen. Oh, this is more pages than I thought. Open kitchen to check for our approval. The singular ingredients combined as a well-tuned orchestra playing Mozart upon our tongues, and we were transported to the depths of the seas from where our lunch had been born. Who knew such salty, musky tastes could live? So yeah, that was a really memorable moment for me. And it ended up like I didn't really get a whole lot of stuff on here except for the color of the salmon and the sea kelp and like these little hearts, because there was just like, oh, so much love in the room. And so I want you to just kind of take some time here right now to kind of think back about what your most memorable moment was for your meal. Your most memorable, not your most memorable moment in your life, but your most memorable meal, a most memorable meal. And then you know, give yourself, let me see, how much time do I say here that we should be doing this? Oh, 5 minutes of stream of consciousness writing and 3 memory thumbnails in color or little swatches of color that kind of come back to your mind and go with that idea of that meal. Okay, so I'm going to give you more than 5 minutes to do that. I'm going to give you 7 minutes to do that. Okay, I'm tightening up our schedule here. and you can go. Are there any questions before you get started? Anybody know what stream of consciousness writing is? Don't take your pen off the paper. Just write it. Yes, and if you do have to leave, it's okay. We're going a little bit over time here, and you can always check the back end of the recording, which I will try to have up by the before the evening, actually. I'll try to get it processed this afternoon and up right away. 5 minutes left. Three minutes. Seems like a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah, way too long.
Yeah, well, it's like figure drawing class, right? You start out with 5 second, 10 second, 30 second gesture drawings. And then you get to the long pose and it's 10 or 20 minutes and you're like, this is forever. I could capture all of this. And you're done quicker than you think. So accelerating your exercises when you do them is one way to paint quicker and quicker and quicker every time. And I will start giving you less time with the things that we're going to do tomorrow too. I'm already actually anticipating a memorable meal. Feel like with my new teeth, if I can get to the point before the end of the summer to be able to actually like hold a hamburger, barbecued hamburger, and go like this and bite into it and have it like not hurt and come off in one piece without a mess, I will be happy. I will feel like my OT is done. That will be a memorable moment for me. I should probably sketch that out. Definitely something that should go in the journal. Okay, 20 seconds. All right. Who wants to share? Mary Eve, you've got yours done.
I will be very brief because I have my favorite meal is around the world. I think about my food, and I
Okay.
just talk about the favorite soup only because my salad is in China. But my favorite soup is sitting on the edge of the Masai Mara with pure fresh mango picked up and avocado mashed together, looking at ground hornbill sitting in the plains. So when you went with food, you went straight into my heart.
Oh my goodness.
And I couldn't do a full meal, but I decompose my favorite meal will have to go across the world.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, and that's the other thing too. Like when you're thinking and you're just like, I don't know what to put in my journal. One of the things that really helps is to think about the senses, right? So if you think about taste, you think about meals, and you think, wow, okay, like I really had, you know, it's not just the food, it's also the fact that you remember something like that in such vivid detail, and then you're able to describe it and then illustrate, you know, whatever colors, whatever else goes along with those little vignettes, those little moments that you can put into the work.
It's a weird bowl of soup in the sunset with the birds, but it's I can talk about food, but it's a decompose of other trees and how I can never make that soup because I do not have the way to pick up the mangoes fresh from the trees and the avocado. And there's no way. I try many times and I need to go back to that places to get those flavors.
Right. That's good. That's a really good memory. Yeah. Anybody else want to share? Who wants to share? Jenny?
I can share. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go Jenny and then I'll go to Amanda.
Okay, so my memorable meal was yesterday.
Ah!
I don't know if you can see it. So basically,
if you want to hold it up, I'll actually, sorry, I should be
so we went to the Drunken Lobster in Canmore here for oysters, and then I had fish and chips afterwards, and the bowl there is a steaming bowl of chowder that my husband had, a little bottle of hot sauce, and then the oysters. Tried to figure out how to draw the oysters. But anyways, just very crude drawing and painting, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, don't call it crude drawing. Call it essential, right? It's the essence of the drawing. It's like, you know what was there. It's beautiful. Yeah. Good. Wonderful. I haven't tried that restaurant. I haven't been back to Canmore. So
oh, it's wonderful.
Place.
It's great. They get their fresh oysters in a couple times a week and shuck them, and yeah, you got to try it. For those of you that live in Canmore, if you haven't been, you got to go there.
Never been, and I love oysters, so thank you. I'll try to go.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share their memorable meal or their oh, Amanda actually was next, right?
Sure, I'll share. So mine was a special paella I had in Spain when I was a student, and this is just the wine and the seafood and the crema catalan, the flan type dessert, and the colors of the Mediterranean.
Oh, beautiful. So how many years ago was that, Amanda?
Oh, it was like I was 20, so you know, I'm almost 50.
Yeah. So I mean, that's those are the kinds of things that stick with you, right? Like meals. If you're struggling with like memory pieces that you want to put in your journal, sometimes you can link it to a meal. Sometimes you can link it to a person. Sometimes you can link it to music, right? So think about your senses. Irene, I know you were asking about this. And if you think about smells and tastes and touches and hearing and all of those things, and you just go, well, yeah, wait a minute. I went to that concert where they had that group from South Africa that sang, and that was amazing. And then I remember, oh, and my dad was with me at that, and just he and I went and thought it was the most incredible night out. And so all of these, if you can just pull on the thread of one sense, then you're going to find the rest of them are just going to tumble out. And that, so look for those little, I don't want to call them triggers, but they are kind of like pokers, or they poke you and they say, oh yeah, you did this. And remember this and this and this and this. And so then you've got this whole string of events that tie together based on one, quick, memorable moment, either sight, sound, taste, touch, all of those things. Yeah. Anybody else want to share one more for today? And then I've got some homework for you. Meg, I see your hand up.
My most memorable, maybe I'll take that off. My most memorable meal was in France, and I had gone with a friend for a wedding in France, and we decided to take a half day and go to a little town that had an art gallery that was particularly notable, and we drove in. It took way longer than we expected it to, but we were feeling like we were totally free, and it was such a wonderful time. We got to our destination and all the restaurants were closed. We were totally famished.
Oh.
All the restaurants were closed. The gallery was closed.
Oh.
So we found a little place where I could see somebody behind the fermé sign. And I'm tapping on the window, and she came in. We told her our plight, and she said, all I have is baguette and jambon. And we said, magnifique. And she brought us chunks of baguette laden with drapes of thick slices of ham and butter. That's all it was, butter, bread, ham, and a Coke.
Beautiful.
And we didn't get to the art gallery. I don't remember anything else about that day except that divine lunch. So I didn't get much, I wrote it much. I didn't put much.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. It's just like such, in all its complexity and simplicity all in one page right there. Right? Yeah. Good. Okay, well, I know 3 hours is a long time for sitting and being on Zoom, even if you're working away. And what I wanted to do is just sort of share with you this this idea tonight for homework, and I will I will not paste. I will post this up for you on your homework. I think if I haven't already posted it, I will. And what I want you to do tonight is do one page that has like 3 to 5 moments on it. And just, give yourself as much time as you feel like you need. Don't get too caught up in the details or anything like that. But just, here I've just kind of arranged snowdrops, bleeding hearts, and a black-eyed Susan all on one page in a bit of a theme. You can pick a theme or you don't have to, whatever you want. But I just want you to practice the idea of making those moment sketches in your notebook. And then the other thing I want you to do is just a little bit of expressive play with the watercolor. So in this case, you don't have to make anything, right? Like this is just like some colors bleeding into each other. And it's just like, I just wrote down, today I felt like a flower. And this is how I felt. I felt all these colors and, just kind of playing just like a child a little bit, like then you've just got this expressive watercolor. And that's one of the things that is so neat about watercolor is that it can do things beyond your ability to sort of paint it, like I probably couldn't have like come up with this little mushroomy thing kind of all coming together if I tried. It can do some pretty darn amazing things, kind of bleeding colors into each other. So I want you to try a little bit of expressive color play. And this is somebody was asking me before about how do I take things outside. So I think you have an idea now about was it Louise? You were asking me about that. So you know that you don't need a lot of materials, right? You need a little bit of water, or maybe like a glass of water or a jar of water, your paintbrush, a few paints. What kind of paints do you have, Louise?
I've got one of those little kits that my husband has kindly given me, one of those cots.
Cotmans.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Cotman. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. So just take that outside with you. Just find a place to sit down. I know you just had knee surgery, so you probably want to sit instead of stand. Thanks, Amanda. And then I want you to just work on some outdoor moments, because it's an entirely different feeling to paint outside than it is to paint inside. So if you can work on 3 moments on one page, expressive play with color and feelings, just kind of getting a page of that down, and then go outside, take your paints outside, and do a journal outside. And you can do like 1, 3, or 5 moments from wherever you're sitting. Just pick something and do it. And you might want to try putting your timer on for 10 minutes or so, and work on those, because you want to make sure that you can, like, don't get caught up in details and matching colors and being exact with things. Get really broad with those shapes and colors and the things that are in front of you. And I mean, really, you could do this very, very quickly. And that's just, if you have time to do that tonight. I don't want to like put more on you. But if you have time to do those, it's a good way to sort of follow up and build on what we did today, so that you have an idea, and, creating those moments and those moment pages just comes secondhand. Okay. And then tomorrow we are going to do a whole bunch more exercises, almost back to back. And I will be doing some demo videos for you to show you some different techniques on, how to use salt, or how to make what's called a float, or how to pull colors, or how to take color off a little bit if you've got too much on there. And also a lot of other creative ways that you can use your journal to record your time with when you're traveling, aside from, maybe doing things like picking up beer caps. Like, every place you can pick up a beer cap or a beer label, those things are really kind of cool to put into your journal. There's all kinds of, I've got tons and tons of ideas around how to not only paint in your journal, but how to excuse me, add other things into your journal that will sort of stick in there. And a lot of these little journal books have these really cool pouches at the back, right? So you can usually like put some stuff in there. In this one, I made myself a little viewfinder out of a piece of watercolor paper. So if I'm trying to work on something, I just and I'm trying to make sure that I'm only working on that, then I'm like doing the viewfinder thing to just kind of find that painting, to frame it up, block everything else out. It makes it easier. Okay, are there any more questions about today? Today, for tomorrow, or anything else? We're gonna have fun, lots of fun.
Thanks,
And
Janice.
yes.
Oh, thanks. I may have to miss a good portion of tomorrow. I have to babysit, but anyways, I will follow up with a whole bunch of exercises and so forth. So
Yeah,
thanks.
no problem. Yeah, if you miss tomorrow, don't worry about it again. I will have the final recording up as soon as I possibly can. These sessions take a lot longer to kind of process and then get them posted up. So Lisa, I'm glad that you're back into painting again. That's awesome. And Luna, I got your note, and I just really love all of the work that you're doing, and I'm glad that things are opening up for you and that you realize that it does not have to be perfect, right? It's not about perfection. We are perfect as we are. So let's just embrace that. And these journals are for us, babies. Let's go. All right. Okay. I will see you guys tomorrow. Some of you I won't see tomorrow. We may even, you know, if there are lots and lots of questions, we might have, I'll look at my timetable and see if I can schedule in like an hour of Q&A at some point. And then we'll just roll with it from there. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you again soon. Okay.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Bye-bye. Okay.
Okay.